Thor. What is he good for? Setting up Infinity Stones.
That's a good one.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that, because that's the second time you've heard it.
Well, it did make me laugh a second time as well. The pause gets me, because I'm fully expecting you to be like, oh, I forgot what I was going to say. Can we start again?
Thor, and then I'm doing the bits in my head.
Yeah.
Dun-dun. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
Say it
and
again.
Infinity Wars.
Yeah.
Infinity Gems, sorry. Yes, this is Thor the Dark World. Welcome to Cutscene.
Welcome to Cutscene's worst movie ever, as we continue into a new phase of worst movie ever.
A new saga.
You might say, because we have completed the DCEU. We've completed the Spider-Verse, the Sony Spider-Verse, and now we are into the MCU. We started last month with Iron Man 2, which, thank you to our Patreons over at patreon.com/cutscene, have confirmed that Kraven the Hunter was indeed worse than Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 was better than Kraven the Hunter, so Iron Man 2 in at number 13 on our list. And as an update to that list, we have moved Spider-Man 3. A lot of people complained that it was too high on the list.
And it was. It was, admittedly.
It was. So we decided in the last episode that we were going to move it, and it's been moved down the list.
Yeah, it's now... Black Adam is, of course, better because of Pierce Brosnan than Spider-Man 3.
That was the deciding factor in the end.
But Superman 4 is worse.
Yes, the budget
So that's how it goes.
played a pivotal role within that. So yeah, we are now looking at Thor the Dark World, which, along with Iron Man 2 and The Incredible Hulk, was the trilogy of movies you don't need to bother watching when you do your rewatch, because really, they're a bit boring, and you can just skip over those ones.
Look, I disagree. Hulk is recast. And apart from General Ross and a few bits there, you don't need... You could watch a post-credit scene from something else and know General Ross, right?
It's also just... It's a fine movie.
Yeah, it's nothing.
I like it, but it's fine.
So you've got Incredible Hulk, whatever. It's kind of non-canon, but is. Mm-hmm. Iron Man 2 is just really there because of the success of Iron Man 1. I don't think Iron Man 2 is a MC... It's in the MC verse, but it's not an Infinity Saga film. It's just continuing the Iron Man story.
It is a movie of a previous way of making movies in the studio system.
Which is
your first movie
toys.
did well, make a sequel to it.
And toys. Because boys like toys.
Well, we'll be getting into toys later on, because toys are a big reason why this movie is the way that it is.
Yeah. Goddamn, I'm not buying any lady toys. I'm not buying an action figure of a woman.
Not even Lady Sif. No matter how much you try and make me buy a toy of Lady Sif, I'm not going to buy it.
So my argument, and I don't know if I've been consistent with this the entire time I've known you, I think. I like Thor the Dark World.
That is true.
I think it is unfair to dismiss this as unnecessary to the MCU, because inherently with its production issues, it's very important for it, because this is the introduction of the Infinity Stones.
Yes, they had decided by this point that the Tesseract was also an Infinity Stone.
Kayfabe said that.
They do in this film.
Exactly.
Because that's what I'm saying. Because at this point they decided they had not decided that when they did Avengers Assemble here in the UK, or the Avengers for our American viewers. But by now they have decided, the Tesseract, it's no longer the Cosmic Cube, and it is now the Mind Stone from the Infinity Gauntlet, and this is going to be the Reality Stone. Although the Reality Stone here does not behave as it does when they start using it in Infinity War.
Yeah, well, they were trying to retcon paper over some things, weren't they?
Which again further proves you don't really need to watch much of this movie. Like, I got Endgame, because I remembered, broadly speaking, that the ether was in Endgame and that it was in Jane Foster. But I had not seen this. I did not watch this as part of my rewatch leading into Endgame.
I did. I didn't watch... So I've watched the MCU. I think this is my 4th time that I'm going through it in my life. In the cinemas, at home, once in the pandemic with my partner who hadn't seen any of them, and now.
Yeah.
And I didn't make her watch Iron Man 2 or Hulk.
No.
But I did make her watch Dark World. And you know what?
And she fell asleep.
She did not fall asleep because Greenwich. You know, like the
right, okay.
You know, like the excitement that we get when, oh, I recognize that character.
Yeah.
She gets that with I've been there. If she's been to a place on screen, she's in.
Yeah.
And I knew, Dark World might lose her a bit when it's Keith and his buddies, the Dark Elves.
Malekith, right? Yeah.
Malekith, yeah. Evil Keith. That stuff she's going to lose interest in. All the like.
So did Christopher Eccleston to go and buy the film.
Can we have another scene explaining the convergence? She's going to lose interest in that as well.
It's like Netflix wrote it.
But goddamn, the last half hour, she's been there.
Yeah, she recognized it.
And she woke up, she perked up, and I was like, great.
She's also been to Charing Cross Tube Station.
And then we're off to the races, really,
yes.
after this.
I saw this at a press screening in October 2013.
Came out November 8th, 2013.
Yeah, so I saw it in October 2013. I was so excited to go and see this. And then I watched it again on DVD with my then girlfriend, now wife.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And she was so thoroughly bored by it that we didn't finish it, to the point where, in my memory, Loki dies in the spaceship bit, not on the Dark World with the Dark Elves. I sort of just forgot about all of that stuff. And it was only until I then watched Ragnarok and I was like, oh yeah, he took over Odin, didn't he? And then sort of like proclaimed himself as king.
Wait. The spaceship death is in an Infinity War, right?
No. It's in, like, you know when they are being chased off by the Asgardian guards and Thor throws him out of the...
Oh, at the end of the first Thor movie.
No, in this movie, when they're being chased by the Asgardian guards and Thor is flying the Dark Elf ship... In my head, I was like, oh yeah, he throws Loki, and that's when Loki dies in the movie. But
really, there's an extra ship below the ship to catch him.
The posh one of Thor's friends. You know Thor's friends.
Oh yeah, the Warriors 3.
There's the posh one, the beard one, the lady one.
And the Asian one.
And the Asian one who gets fobbed off at the start of this movie.
He gets one reaction shot at the end. Well, all the worlds are converging. By the way, the convergence, just let me run you through this another time. It's when the 9 realms get together.
Yeah.
Where they pass Greenwich
each other.
Greenwich is the place. It's always Greenwich.
And Greenwich is going to be the center point of it. It's what the Mayans used. It's what the Egyptians used to build their pyramids.
And it's what the King Willie pub in Greenwich, where I went every Friday night when I was 17. That's what we used to look at.
Yeah.
We used to get hammered and look up at the sky and see, let's say, Vanaheim.
I'm glad you went with that one and not what the Dark World is, because that is all consonants. It's like a Welsh town.
Do you want to try and do a survival series of the 9 realms?
Absolutely not.
Come on, there's a couple of easy ones.
Well,
I just gave you Vanaheim,
Asgard, Midgard.
Midgard is Earth, yeah.
Sorry, Midgard's the place you go to in Final Fantasy VII. The Dark World, which is like Flame.
No, I think it's Nilheim or Tottenheim.
There's the Ice one, which is where Loki's from.
Yep, I think that's Ferkman. Yeah, I've got a little.
You have got them all as part of your notes. We have been.
I've got that. But I never wrote down any of the Warriors 3 names.
No, neither did I. You kept writing down the posh Zachary Levi.
Yeah, I've got a posh one. Actually, I called him Zorro, I think. I've got Zorro, I've got Hungry Man, and I've got Asian guy. Because that's all the character he gets.
Lady Sif.
Oh, but Lady Sif isn't in the Warriors 3.
She is.
It's the Warriors 3 and Lady Sif and Thor.
She's got way big of a role in this movie than any of the other ones do.
Yeah, but I'm just saying canonically.
Because they start...
There are only 3 members of the Warriors 3 and they're all dudes.
They start doing a love triangle thing at the start of the movie, then very quickly stop doing that. Because I wonder if that's a reshoots thing. Because we talked about this in the Iron Man 2 episode. The MCU is built upon the idea of we will find the movie in the edit. We have an idea of what we're doing. We've got a script, but it's a fluid script. We'll rewrite things on set and we'll make a brand new movie as we're shooting it because we'll find a movie there. But we truly find the movie that we're going to release when we are editing it, then decide, and now we need to go reshoot all of these scenes so we can glue this all together to make the complete movie that we have now found.
I've said it before, it's fascinating how closely that mirrors what's known as the Marvel method. So in comics, you had DC, and it would be a script-led thing. So the writer would write out the script, Jerry Siegel would do the Superman script, and then Joe Shuster would draw the art to follow the story, and you put the dialogue and integrate it. At Marvel, when that started really in the 60s, the method was you get Kirby or you get Ditko, they would draw the story. Stan Lee would put the text over the top of it.
And what text you put?
A lot of text.
So much text.
A lot of syllables.
A lot of see issue 13, True Believer.
And here you've got the Marvel movies, and it's the artists, and by which I mean the visual artists. They do a lot of the prelim work before the script is even decided.
Yeah, final acts are done before plot's done.
Yeah. And then it's up to the people to, okay, how can we tell a story with these visuals?
I think the next couple of episodes we're going to do, this one and our next episode, Age of Ultron, one of the things that we will definitely be talking about is the director working within the Marvel system and which ones flourished and which ones really struggled with it. Because Alan Taylor, the director of this, really struggled in it. Joss Whedon would eventually really struggle within it. But James Gunn, even though he was victim to the exact same things, managed to flourish within it. The Russos flourished within it. But some visionaries, some directors came in here. Edgar Wright could not work within this system. It's really interesting which directors can manage it and which ones just, I can't do it this way.
And I don't think you can look at a director and go, oh yeah, I can see why that wouldn't have worked. Because Alan Fine. Fine, Game of Thrones TV director.
Alan Taylor.
Alan Taylor, sorry.
Alan Fine's part of the creative committee, which we will come on to in a little bit.
But he's the director here. He's got a long career of doing TV episodes. So
The Sopranos.
Yeah, okay, great. He's used to working to a brief of a longer running serialized bit of storytelling. So that makes perfect sense to me. As do the Russos. The Russos, Arrested Development, Community.
Yeah.
These are guys who have worked in establishing a visual or a sort of a world, and then they work within it with loads of other people. Yeah. Sounds so much like the MCU. Russos flourish. Taylor falls out. And then you go, well, okay, you've got Jon Favreau and you've got James Gunn. Both sort of indie film directors. Yeah. Jon Favreau does one movie or two movies, but he's burnt out by the second. He can't handle it.
He was going to direct the Avengers.
James Gunn, sort of very similar. I would have put James Gunn as I would say he wouldn't succeed in that environment.
He's got too much of a vision for this movie.
He's not only aced it, he's gone over to DC and headed up their whole department. So it really is fascinating. The previous career does not seem to be an indicator of whether you can survive in this machine of Kevin Feige.
And now that the Avengers is out and it's done $1 billion at the box office, and the MCU is big business because Iron Man 3 then comes out and that does $1 billion at the box office. A film I really like. It's why we're not doing our worst movie ever. I like Iron Man 3.
Anyone who thinks Iron Man 3 should be on worst movie ever is... But just because of the Mandarin? Get over it. You got Shang-Chi.
Eventually. So this is now big business, which means there are more cooks who are getting into the kitchen. There are more people adding ingredients into the broth. There are people who are trying to remove ingredients from the broth and replace it with different ingredients from the broth, mostly women. And there's a lot of moving parts to the MCU at this point. And Alan Taylor, unfortunately, has a bad time within that. But so does Chris Hemsworth, really? Because it's following this movie. Like, when we decided to put this in, my reasons for it were, A, it's usually in the bottom three. In the pre-Endgame world, this was always in the bottom three. B, Marvel agree. The Marvel Studios don't think this is a good movie. And they talk about it as being one of those, we kind of failed on that one, we fumbled on it. This movie was received so poorly within Marvel that Chris Hemsworth took Kevin Feige to one side being like, we need to fix Thor. And like, it's all the things that happen here is what gets us to Ragnarok.
Really?
And it's this, and then going into Age of Ultron as well. And Age of Ultron is an mess of a movie. Again, that's why it's on our list, because Marvel themselves, Marvel Studios, be like, that's a mess of a movie. We meddled far too much in that one. And off the back of those, they were like, we need to fix Thor. One of the things we really need to do is we need to fix Thor because we have broken him. And
to their credit, they pull it off because he goes from essentially a straight man in all the comedic dynamics to maybe the main force of comedy in the Avengers.
Because you see it in the first movie, directed by Kenneth Branagh, he's just very Shakespearean. I've got to talk about the 9 realms, Jane Foster. I come from Asgard. And it's like, and then they kind of play up that in the Avengers when Robert Downey Jr. is like, what is this, Shakespeare in the Park? Doth mother know you weareth her drapes? But he has some comedic moments in there because it's a Joss Whedon script and everyone has to be Xander in a Joss Whedon script. And so here you get a little bit of it. A little bit of like the sort of mix of straight man Thor, got to protect the 9 realms, Jane Foster, and he's my half-brother. From the Avengers,
yes,
is a mix. But then when you get to Ragnarok, that is a completely different Thor in a completely different franchise.
There is only one bit in this movie where I even saw the glimpse of Ragnarok Thor. And I think it's when him and Loki are piloting the ship.
Yeah.
And Thor's like, yes, I do know what I'm doing. But the delivery is so buffoon Hemsworth. It's fascinating. Do you mind if we go through just the MCU so far?
Please do.
Just for it to make sense in my head.
Also, because you and I have rewatched all of these films, just like
it.
quite just casually. So I've watched them in a mad order, but.
Can you just tell people what your order is, because it's upsetting me.
So I watched Iron Man 2.
I thought about this on the way home yesterday.
I watched Iron Man 2.
What's he doing?
I watched Iron Man 2 for the last podcast.
Which is fine, because we had to watch it.
And I really enjoyed like watching it and sort of being back in the MCU world. So I watched Infinity War. And then,
because that's your favourite.
Yeah, it was just like,
it's got all the,
it was
toys.
A Friday night. I was having some wine. My wife had gone to bed and I was like, I'm going to watch Infinity War. So I watched Infinity War and then I watched Endgame. And because
you got it, 'cause you watched Infinity War.
One rolls into the other. So then I watched Thor: The Dark World preparation for this show. And then I watched The Avengers. And then I watched Captain America: The Winter Soldier. So the First Avenger. I did them in reverse chronological order, but skipped over Iron Man 3.
I want some weird watch order to arise from this. Like in your order, you get about half an hour or 40 minutes into Avengers until Cap shows up. Then you watch Captain America: The First Avenger as the flashback to that moment.
Yeah, when he's punching the bag and he's having his own flashbacks there, you'll pause and then be like, I'm just going to go and watch the film as a flashback.
Yeah.
The flashback as a whole film.
So I've done it in a more traditional way, you might say.
Smarter.
Where I started with Iron Man and then I watched The Incredible Hulk and then Iron Man 2. I've done it in literal order. I watched Captain America on the plane to Vietnam. And I think I was blown away by it.
It's a good film.
I was blown away by it.
It's a good film.
Every time I watch it, I love it more.
Me too.
And I would say of the Iron Mans, every time I watch it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's as good as I remember it.
Yeah.
So that means I kind of love Captain America more than I do Iron Man.
I think of the solo movies in Phase 1, it's my favourite. Obviously, like Avengers, trumps them all because that's the big, all the toys come together. I think the first Avengers is my favourite MCU movie.
I was watching
of the Phase 1.
I was watching it on the plane. I've got the sort of thing with, when you're on a plane, you get more emotional watching a film anyway. I'm about 3 glasses of wine deep. And I just get out my notepad as I'm watching it. And I'm like, he's the best one. because, but like, Tony Stark, he's a billionaire. You know, of course, move up. What are you if you take away the suit? A billionaire, playboy philanthropist. Yeah, you're still all those things. You got a head start in life. Your superpower is money. Thor, you're a god. Hawkeye, you've got
you're Jeremy Renner.
Great, you great with a bow and arrow. Natasha, you had your origin story. What is Steve's superpower? Granted, if you take it away, he's the best person.
Yeah.
His superpower is being the best of us.
His superpower is he is Steve Rogers. And it's what Erskine says to him. It's like it amplifies. And it's why the Red Skull becomes the way that he is, because it amplifies the worst in you. The super soldier serum just amplifies Steve Rogers into being a superhero. But he was already a superhero because he's Steve Rogers and he's the best guy.
I think it might depend on how old you are. You know, like when you're younger, Iron Man's the coolest because he's snarky and blah, blah, blah. Like Friends characters. Yeah. Everyone's favourite is Chandler at the start because he's snarky. Chandler. And then you arrive at Ross.
No.
Everyone arrives at Ross.
Everyone arrives at Rachel.
But I just... Cap is so special... And he's got a heart. I didn't mean to go on this long. I was crying like AJ Styles had just retired watching it on the plane.
There is a moment in the Avengers that makes me cry every single time. And it's proper like single Sinead O'Connor tear. And it's when that waitress says, Captain America saved my life. Oh, just thinking about it, like it really does get to me.
Yeah.
I think she's Ellie from The Last of Us.
But it's important, isn't it? Because without that sincerity, the Avengers dynamic doesn't work. The MCU does not work without Captain America.
That's why he's come back. All that and, box office receipts are down. Got to break glass and bring back Captain America.
So let's discount Incredible Hulk because he gets recast. It's a nothing contributing film. Iron Man 1 and 2 are really the Iron Man series. So really, I was like, when does the MCU kind of start?
Interesting.
In terms of the Infinity Saga. It's Thor. Thor comes out May 6th, 2011. Tesseract.
Well, the Tesseract's in First Avenger.
First Avenger is July.
Yes, but that's where the Tesseract comes in, because that's what...
The Ice Giants have the Tesseract, don't they?
That's
the power source.
No, because Red Skull gets the Tesseract. That's why, and he's using that to build all of his weapons. And
in the past.
Yes, I suppose you're right. Yeah, but then it's on Asgard.
Yeah. So the Ice Giant. Wait.
No, it's not. No, it's not. If it crashes down with Steve Rogers when they crash down in 1940s, because he stops the Red Skull. I think you have, because the Tesseract's definitely the MacGuffin of the First Avenger.
What, and it only...
I don't think it was used. Thor. I tell you, when it is in Thor, it's shown in like the room, like they've got sort of like their trophy room and stuff. The Tesseract, the cosmic.
So then how's it there?
The cosmic cube, but it was seen it was done as an Easter egg, and then they retconned it in Ragnarok. Hela walks past it and throws it on the floor and says, "That's a fake."
On the MCU fandom wiki here,
great resource.
It was used by various ancient civilizations before coming into Asgardian hands, kept inside Odin's vault. Eventually, it was brought to Earth and left in Tonsberg, where it was guarded by devout Asgardian worshippers.
Yeah. So I would read that as was in Asgard, because then there's and then it just fell into human hands.
Yeah.
Like that to me says, I'm explaining how it's in Thor, and then it is also in Captain America. But like in Ragnarok, it is rewritten.
But so May, Thor, in the prologue of Thor, when Odin is talking about the Ice Giants are powered by the Tesseract.
Are they?
Well, that's that. But am I getting something wrong here?
I don't think they are powered by the Tesseract. The Tesseract's like... that's the Ice Mind
Giant's power?
That's what Gemini has to say.
This isn't going to help me here. Is the Tesseract in Thor? In Thor 1, the Tesseract is the source of the Frost Giant's power.
Okay, sound correct.
Why does it shoot coldness if it is the Space Stone?
Because at that point, they hadn't fully decided things yet.
Oh, and now people are applying. That's because the Tesseract isn't the same item as the item that is the source of the Frost Giant's power.
So I was right.
This. OP needs to rewatch Thor.
And you just have.
I was really jet lagged. There is a lot of like blue power things.
Yeah, but this is a period of the MCU where we are just sort of making stuff up as we go along. Then we can start cherry picking things. Oh, you know what? The Tesseract, that could probably be the Mind Stone. Now it's the Mind Stone, and it's actually yellow. It's just in a blue box.
A few moments later.
Okay,
I've already forgotten the ones you've said.
So we've got the Tesseract, the Power Stone, the Mind Stone, because that becomes Vision.
Casket of the Ancient Waters.
You've got the Soul Stone, which is where it's on Boromir. That's where the Red Skull is. He got taken there by the Tesseract to go protect and watch over.
Sorry, say them again?
So the Tesseract, which is the Mind Stone.
Yep.
Which then goes into Vision. Ether, that's the Reality Stone.
Yep.
You've got the Power Stone, it's the purple one that Quill finds. You've got the Soul Stone, which is being protected by the Red Skull. You've got the Time Stone, which is being protected by Doctor Strange and his crew.
Yeah, you've already said it. Tesseract is the Space Stone.
But it's not. That's the Mind. Oh,
Mind is yellow.
Oh, sorry. That's where I got confused. The Mind Stone is in Loki's scepter, and the Tesseract is the Space Stone. That's right. That's where I got confused. It's because both of them are in the same fucking film. Damn it.
So you
can I stop you for a second? I think I spent so much of that early portion saying that the Tesseract becomes the Mind Stone, and it's not. The fucking scepter's the Mind Stone. Oh, idiot. Oh, that's all. Everyone's going to fucking correct me on that one because I was wrong.
Great. This is music to my ears. It just shows how rubbish the Infinity Stones are. You never guess what? I've only gone and confused it with the Casket of Ancient Winters.
Oh, you idiot. You moron.
It's my fault that they're both shiny blue cubes.
I remember when I went to see Captain America the First Avenger being annoyed they just didn't call it the Cosmic Cube.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the Cosmic Cube. Stop rebranding it to something else.
Okay, so... All right, move the Tesseract aside.
Here's the other daft thing about the Tesseract. It's also the Space Stone.
Yeah.
Because they use it to travel between worlds. But then they rebrand that when they get to the Infinity. It's like, actually, no, it's just the Mind Stone.
I never bothered learning the rules of the stones. I don't care.
They literally have names. It's like the Spice Girls.
So, Thor. Okay, let's remove Tesseract. But, common mistake. It's the whatever of Ancient Winters.
Everyone makes it.
If I had a penny. But Thor does set up Loki dying. He goes into at the end, Thor pushes him off the rainbow bridge. And the post-creds is him going to Selvig in S.H.I.E.L.D. with the Tesseract.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Actually, it works. Thor does have the Tesseract in right at the end.
So Thor gave it. I don't remember that as a post-credit scene. Did he give it to them?
No, don't you remember? It somehow fell into human hands.
It fell into human hands in the 1940s because the Red Skull has it.
Yes, but then Steve crashes the plane and Howard Stark finds the Tesseract.
That's great, yeah.
But not
Steve, because Steve gets buried in the ice.
So S.H.I.E.L.D. then has the
Tesseract, yes.
So Selvig at the end of Thor is recruited by Coulson to go and look at the Tesseract.
Sorry, I thought you said Thor went to go and see them because they had the Tesseract.
Loki went to see it.
Right, and I was like, why is Thor going there? And I was like, why is this here on Earth? Not on the Nine Realms on Asgard.
Is that the ancient cast of Winters?
No, everyone makes that mistake. Oh, my apologies.
So sorry. We're getting there. This is excellent content that you very kindly invest in your time into. We just need to understand basic plot elements, and then we'll move on.
We'll get into the production history shortly.
My larger point, I'll try and speed through this now, is Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk. That's over there.
Yeah.
And the Infinity Saga truly begins with Thor, not the Avengers Initiative or whatever, but the Infinity Saga. May 2011 Thor. Captain America is it is really tied into the events of Thor because you've got the Tesseract and all that stuff.
And the post-credits is the trailer for The Avengers.
Then in May 2012, you've got The Avengers, and The Avengers is like a direct sequel to Thor because it's the continuing story of Loki.
Selvig's there, Loki's the bad guy, it's the Tesseract, which is very key in Thor, apparently.
Then you've got Iron Man 3 in May 2013. In the Disney Plus watch order, even though that came out first, they put it after the events of the Dark World.
Yes, I think that's right, yeah.
So in kayfabe continuity terms, it goes Thor, Avengers, Thor the Dark World.
Yeah.
It's like the Loki Thor trilogy.
So this movie, and we're going to get into this in a little bit, is where I think they really discover what they have with Loki. Alan Taylor's original vote in this movie, Loki is not in it a lot.
Wow.
That finding the movie in the edit is where they decided we need more Loki in this movie. And he is then a huge part of the reshoots to get more Loki in the film. I think in the first cut of it, he's not in for like the first hour.
I can't wait to find out because I don't know any of that stuff. And to me, Loki is the heart of this film. And has two of the best moments.
Because the test audiences they showed were like, where's Loki? Because people loved him in the first movie, but then really loved him in the Avengers when he calls Black Widow a mewling quim. he calls her a fanny.
Yeah.
So should we get into the production history of this movie, or did you have another point?
Do I have anything more to clarify? No, I think I'm okay.
So, Feige announced in the D23 magazine there would be another Thor movie prior to the release of the first one. But Kenneth Branagh was surprised by this news. He told Movie Line, "It's news to me. Here's what I would say to that. It's that I'm thrilled that they're confident. I shall wait for the audience to tell us whether there should be a second one. And even if that's a nice conversation to be had among us, that would be thrilling. But I've got too much Irish superstitious blood in me to assume that Thor 2 will happen. But if Marvel says so, then I guess it must be true." And then Feige clarifies, what I said by that is there will be another one if the first one does well. Bear in mind, this is pre-Avengers, so, it's like, hey, if these movies do well, then maybe we'll do another one of these. Because again, to your point, Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, that is, I think that's a pre-Avengers era of the MCU. Even though there is Avengers Initiative stuff in Iron Man 2, it only really begins in earnest with Thor and Captain America to lead into the Avengers, because they start making those three films basically all at the same time.
And it's very noticeable because they all have the same MacGuffin, which is the Tesseract.
So Thor comes out in 2011, $181 million to domestic, $449 million worldwide, considered a success. So Disney announced a release date of July 26, 2013 for Thor 2, with Chris Hemsworth coming back, but Branagh was announced as not coming back. Mike Fleming wrote for Deadline on June 30th, 2011. His exit was mutual and amicable. Amicable. I'm told. That means a big job is out there that a lot of directors and their agents will be chasing over the upcoming holiday. July 4th, that is. Variety reported in August 2011 that Brian Kirk, who had just directed episodes of Game of Thrones, was in talks to direct the movie. It's key because it's probably the reason that Alan Taylor comes on later, is they want this to have a Game of Thrones vibe to it.
Which, at the time, is the biggest thing in pop culture. I guess, Avengers was, but the other biggest thing is Game of Thrones.
So Variety then reported in September 2011 that Kirk had decided not to do it. He's going to move on to other projects, and instead, Patty Jenkins signs on to direct Thor 2.
No. Wait, did I know this?
I don't know. It's in the MCU book.
Oh, I must, because I've read it. Who eventually directed Wonder Woman, by the way, just if people didn't recognize the name.
And
Wonder Woman 1984, the superior sequel.
Which everyone keeps saying we should also do, but I think it's a 3-star movie. I don't see the point in doing it.
It's a good film.
Variety added, a number of other Helmers were considered for the Thor sequel, including Drew Goddard, James McTeague, Noam Morrow, and Breck Eisner. Drew Goddard, I just want to mention there because he's always the bridesmaid of superhero franchise movies. He keeps given loads of them, and then they never get made.
Even stuff like Daredevil, which he does make, he then leaves.
So the reason why Jenkins came on board was Natalie Portman, because she was reticent to sign on for the sequel. She wasn't sure if she wanted to come back, be a part of this franchise. And she said, if you bring in Patty Jenkins, then I'll sign on. And
Good for Natalie Portman, using her position to help elevate another woman in the business.
And Jenkins had a very simple idea for what she was going to do with Thor 2. Do a Romeo and Juliet star-crossed lovers film.
Which is what is exactly set up at the end of Thor.
Yeah.
Should we just... So Thor ends with Jane and Thor fall in love. Thor has to go back to Asgard because Loki's sort of wiped out Odin and has taken over. They have a battle, and Loki falls to his what we think is his death, and the Bifrost, which is the thing that transports people between worlds, but there's loads of other ways to get between worlds, it turns out,
apparently so,
is destroyed. So the end of Thor in sort of Empire Strikes Back endings is Thor and Jane love each other, but they are stuck on different worlds and they can't see each other.
And Thor, there's absolutely no way for Thor to get back to Earth. Apart from that one line in the Avengers where Loki says, Odin must have used a lot of magic to get you here. And I was like, yes, he did. Now, Loki, where is the Tesseract?
And then in Thor the Dark World, where he just does it about 20 minutes into the film.
The Bifrost was fixed by that point.
Is that what but people keep saying that the Bifrost is malfunctioning?
Heimdall keeps sending people via the Bifrost.
Well, he could have that. We'll get into the nonsense of Thor just being a flaky boyfriend.
I will say as well, so from the Avengers, Thor did become one of my favorite characters. I loved him in the Avengers. When I went to go see the Avengers at the press screening, and then I went to a press conference for it as well with the cast. I'll tell you my favorite story about that in a second. I was given a badge pack as part of, like, you get your pass to go in and stuff, your little lanyard. And they gave me a badge pack that had 6 badges with the logos for the Avengers on it. And I had 3 of them on my coat, which I still have on my coat to this day. And I had Hulk's, because it was just the radioactive symbol, the Captain America shield, and Thor's hammer. They were my favorite ones. I was like, I thought Thor was awesome in the Avengers, which is why I was also super excited to see Thor: The Dark World. Anyway,
well, what was your favorite?
Yes, you're right. Someone asked, this lad asked Robert Downey Jr., what did you have to do to really get into the mindset of Tony Stark following the events of Iron Man and Iron Man 2 to prepare yourself for the role? And to Scarlett Johansson, it was within the same question. And to Scarlett Johansson, what was your diet like to get ready for the Avengers? And Scarlett Johansson was like, why do I always get the rabbit food questions? I was like, ugh.
Yeah, so Black Widow, you've got an awful past with red on your ledger. You're psychologically destroyed from your abusive upbringing. How did you diet for that?
Also, at that press screening, at that press conference, this is back in the day when phones weren't all that great and like recording devices weren't all that great. I got my phone to press my record, and I left it up in between the microphones for Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson, because they were kind of like in the middle of the table. And then obviously they then come on when the chairs were empty. And during it, Scarlett Johansson was talking, and she lifted up her phone to be like, look at a device like this, and then put it down. It was my phone.
Whoa!
Scarlett Johansson touched my phone.
Which means you touched something Scarlett Johansson had touched.
I know, right?
Hot damn.
I didn't watch that phone ever again. So anyway.
Wash your phones?
Jenkins told BuzzFeed News, I pitched them. I wanted to do Romeo and Juliet. I wanted Jane to be stuck on Earth and Thor to be stuck where he is. And Thor to be forbidden to come and save Jane because Earth doesn't matter. And then by coming to save her, they end up discovering that Malekith is hiding the dark energy inside of Earth because he knows that Odin doesn't care about Earth, and he's using Odin's disinterest in Earth to trick him. And so it was like, I wanted to be a grand movie based on Romeo and Juliet, a war between the gods and Earthlings, and Thor saves the day and ends up saving Earth.
Perfect story, I think, considering where the characters are, the star-crossed lovers, and just Thor at that time lends itself so easily to those sorts of Shakespearean tales.
But before we got to Malekith, there was an original villain for this movie. Craig Carl, who's the executive producer on the movie, reveals in the MCU book, Hela was the original villain of this movie. Which means it's time to talk about the creative committee. Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk had little input from New York. aka Marvel Entertainment, which is like the other division. That's where Ike Perlmutter is, basically. And that's what they always call, that's New York.
Well, Marvel Entertainment is essentially
Yeah.
the parent company of Marvel Studios and Marvel Comics and Marvel
Television.
Toys and television, yeah.
So
everything has to be run by them, and they take into account the needs of the larger business.
But in the early days, when the MCU, well, it was just Marvel Studios were just making their little movies, little input from New York. Now these movies are making $1 billion, and now they want to get involved. It's kind of written in the MCU book that it's basically, like they said, we just want to make sure everyone's singing from the same hymn sheet, but those in Marvel Studios saw it as them wanting to have more control and be part of the new lucrative part of the business. So it's just like, oh, well, now that it's doing well, we want to be part of it. This is from the MCU book. At Perlmutter's behest, Marvel Entertainment set up a group it called the Creative Committee. Its members were Dan Buckley, president of Marvel Entertainment, Joe Quesada, chief content officer of Marvel Entertainment, Brian Michael Bendis, the star writer of Marvel Comics, Luis D'Esposito of Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, and Alan Fine, newly promoted executive vice president officer of the chief executive. That is a hell of a word salad title. The way the MCU book describes that as generally understood to be Perlmutter's mouthpiece for the committee. Perlmutter required Marvel Studios to obtain the committee's approval on every major decision, starting with which movies the studios made and extending through casting and draft of the screenplay. Alan Fine, the reason why probably he got on with Perlmutter so well, is he also came from the toy world. So that's what his first thought was, is what's a toy thing we can do. And he believed that everything that Marvel did, TV, film, comics, was lost leaders. Everything should be about the toys. That's where the real money is.
That's where the big markup is.
This
attitude, it still is, like, to be honest, the markup on toys is huge compared to the weird accounting processes of Hollywood.
True. I just don't think it is as big of a business as it was now. Like, they don't roll out as huge a toy line as they used to do for these sorts of things. But that attitude that Fine had about toys and stuff really came under fire when the Avengers came out, because there was so much merchandise came out for it. Clothing, toys, this, that, and the other. And none of it had Black Widow on. So they released a line of like the Battle of New York toys. There is no Black Widow toy within that. They have t-shirts with the Avengers on it. Black Widow is not in that lineup. It became a big like Twitter hashtag viral campaign of where's Black Widow. And they basically were just like, well, boys don't buy girls things. So we're not putting girls. We're not going to release a toy of a girl. We're not going to have girls onto the boys' merchandise because then they won't buy it. Shane Black wanted Rebecca Hall to, as Maya Hansen, to be revealed as the actual villain of Iron Man 3. She was the puppet master controlling the Mandarin. But the creative committee shut that down because they cannot make an action figure of Rebecca Hall as Maya Hansen. So her role was then just diminished and diminished and diminished to the point where she's barely in the movie when the final thing comes out. In the MCU, they do write that the creative committee really, it's not, people who are making the decision of like, they're not going to buy boys, is not Brian Michael Bendis, it's not Joe Quesada. It's all Alan Fine, and by extension, Ike Perlmutter.
Yeah. Yeah, because like you look at Bendis's work, and he is someone who, he invented Miles Morales. I feel like diversity is quite important to Bendis. And he's certainly put women front and center of the comic book lines he's launched. Anecdotally, though, did you have any lady action figures as a kid?
Yeah, I Jurassic Park, because I had all the Jurassic Park sets, and I had Ellie Sattler within that.
I don't think I did.
And Janine Melnitz, who were my Ghostbusters toys.
But is that because that's what I wanted, or is that just because there were very few female action figures you could buy?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, like, there is one in the Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters toy lineup. Bucky O'Hare, there was only one girl within that lineup as well. With the Jurassic Park figures, I think it's only just Ellie Sattler is the only girl action figure within that. Yeah, like Team NT, I didn't have an April O'Neil. I don't know if there was an April O'Neil. There probably was, but I didn't have it. They were predominantly boys. Yeah. All the Transformers are all dudes until they get to the movie and RC comes in. And I didn't have an RC toy. Action Man, as man's in the title. Oh man, have you seen the hilarity from the Master of the Universe trailer?
No, I've not seen it yet.
It's a fun, silly looking trailer anyway, because it just looks like, well, it's Master of the Universe, but put up on screen. But there's a gag in it because it's about like him on Earth, and then he gets taken up to Eternia and finds out that he is He-Man. But he's got a like name bar on his desk that's got his name and he/him. That's a funny joke, right?
It is a funny joke.
People, right-wingers, went mental over it. It was like, they're forcing pronouns into this movie. And it was like, they're forcing pronouns into He-Man. Absolute dickheads. So anyway, so the first thing they did with Thor: The Dark World, the creative committee, was remove Hela as the bad guy. Craig Kyle writes it says in the MCU, in our original film, yes, it was a Hela story. Hela story up in here. And she was our big bad. But at that point in the process, so many of our decisions were being driven by the New York office. They forbid us from going in that direction. And the short version was, boys don't buy female action figures. That is truly the reason why the version of the film was not allowed to be developed. I was also told that people don't buy black action figures. The action figure thing becomes really bad in Age of Ultron, which will come on to the next movie. Black Widow has an action scene in that where she's on a motorbike.
It's in all the trailers. It comes out the plane, doesn't it?
The toy version of that action scene is Captain America's on the bike. The next thing they did was revise the script that Jenkins wanted to shoot, which removed the star-crossed lovers aspect and focused more on the toy-friendly Malekith and the Ether. Jenkins read the revised script and quit.
Wow.
She's quoted in the MCU book, I did not believe I could make a good movie out of the script they were planning on doing. It would have looked like it was my fault. It would have looked like, oh my God, this woman directed it and she missed all of these things. Yeah.
And especially, the MCU has that kind of fandom that would probably be quite brutal towards anyone who's not a white man creative figure.
I mean, they were pretty brutal to Alan Taylor.
What?
Who was, well, yeah, because he was the one who directed the bad MCU movie. So imagine if you'd have had the bad MCU movie and it was directed by a woman.
Oh, well, it must be because she's a woman.
Yeah, it's those different chromosomes. That's the problem.
Alan Taylor's fault was just he wasn't a good director. But...
he buckled under pressure.
But Patty Jenkins, it's because she's a woman that it's a bad film.
Mike Fleming wrote for Deadline in December 2011, Jenkins' exit had to do with creative differences, but the feeling is that she'll probably end up working on one of these superheroes, but perhaps not a sequel. She would later tell Uproxx, I don't think I could have made a good movie out of Thor 2 because I wasn't the right director. And I don't think I would have been in the running for Wonder Woman as a result. And that's one of the reasons why I'm glad I didn't do it, because I could have made a great Thor if I'd have done the story I was wanting to do, but I don't think I was the right person to make a great Thor movie of the story they wanted to do.
Well, just look at her work on Wonder Woman, which saves
awesome.
That DC extended universe for a bit.
It's one of the few good films within the DCEU.
There's a reason we didn't cover it.
Of course, this has a knock-on effect, because who was the person who was ready to sign on to the movie who wanted Jenkins to direct? Natalie Portman. This is from The Hollywood Reporter. Perhaps the studio didn't count on shocking Natalie Portman, who is said to be deeply upset by the decision. While the party spun the December 6th parting as an amicable split over creative differences, sources say Jenkins was fired without warning from a job that would have made her the first woman to direct a superhero tentpole. The news was out before anyone had told Natalie Portman, who had strongly urged Marvel to hire the director of 2003's Monster. According to sources, Portman had begun to question whether she wanted to continue acting at all right now, possibly for several years, because she wanted to spend time with her baby boy who was born in June. Portman was said to be re-engaged in Thor 2 because of Jenkins' involvement, and especially proud that she would have played a role in opening the door for a woman to direct such a film. The Oscar winner is contractually obligated to stay with the project, and Marvel is now said to be working overtime to smooth over the situation by including her in discussions about whom to hire as her replacement. Meanwhile, insiders are telling wildly divergent stories about why Marvel dropped Jenkins. A source with first-hand knowledge of the production says Marvel became concerned that Jenkins was not moving decisively enough and feared the film might miss its November 2013 release date. Exactly how Jenkins could have acted more decisively is unclear, since no script was in place. Marvel had commissioned one from Don Payne before Jenkins came onto the project in October, but the studio now wants a rewrite. Still, the source says the company felt she showed, quote, a lack of overall clarity in her choices, end quote, which led to concerns that the process would be, quote, difficult. I feel that is, she was really the problem. It's not really what we're doing. It was her that was the problem.
Keith Lee was difficult to work
That's
with.
what I was going to say. From a wrestling perspective, Bray Wyatt was just difficult to work with. But an insider in Jenkins' camp says the lack of clarity might be on Marvel's part. This person says Jenkins was so explicit about her vision for the film that she didn't expect to be hired in the first place. The source speculates that Marvel executives might have been won over initially by Portman's enthusiasm for Jenkins, but then, quote, when they started to interview writers for the rewrite, may have decided they really weren't comfortable. Marvel had certain things they needed to achieve, says another source. There were constraints on what she could do creatively. MCU then writes the book that Portman was not in any of the reshoots. And in fact, one of the kisses between Thor and Jane Foster is not played by Natalie Portman. It's actually Chris Hemsworth's IRL wife. She just as a stand-in.
They should have used the girl from the Phantom Menace. They look so similar.
3 days after Jenkins left, Alan Taylor was announced to be directing the movie, having done episodes of Game of Thrones and Sopranos and Mad Men. In fact, of Game of Thrones, he directed the Ned Stark death episode.
Spoiler, Luke.
Sorry, spoilers.
Episode 9, Series 1.
He has directed quite a few. They loved... He does a lot of big episodes. There's big episodes of The Sopranos that he directed. He directed the prequel movie to The Sopranos.
Did he really?
Yeah.
The
Many Saints of Newark.
Yeah,
Many Saints of Newark. Yeah. Feige is quoted as saying that he wanted Taylor to bring some Game of Thrones to Thor, to the point where, I'm going to botch this a little bit, Kramer Morgenthau, who was Taylor's DOP on Game of Thrones, was brought in to be the DOP for this. Because Game of Thrones is hot. Give me Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones started, weirdly, in 2011. So the same year as Thor. This is, was it shooting in 2012, 2011?
This would be shooting in 2012, yeah.
Yeah, so we've just had season 1 of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
This is before Game of Thrones dipped a little bit in popularity and ultimately whiffed it. This is the peak of its popularity.
That's like the MCU. Mads Mikkelsen signed on to play Malekith.
No way!
But he had to drop out due to commitments on Hannibal.
God, what an actor. He's so good. And he's got such a sinister part of him, his performance in Hannibal, for instance. But also later he would be, when he was cast as a villain in one of the Star Wars spin-offs, I was so excited, but he never really got to.
Well, he's then good in Andor.
Oh, is he? He's in that, is he? Oh, cool.
I think I'm right on that. Do you know who else then talks to play Malekith next?
So you've gone from Mads Mikkelsen to Christopher Eccleston eventually. There's a name in between.
There's a name in between.
It's usually Sam Rockwell. But he's already been in Iron Man 2.
It's the second choice of that. Benedict Cumberbatch was in talks to play Malekith before it went to Christopher Eccleston.
They were just raiding great British character actors.
But if he'd have taken that role... Can't play Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Been recast there. And Joshua Dallas announced he would not be coming back as Fandral due to commitments on Once Upon a Time and was replaced by Zachary Levi. But unfortunately, we can't ring the second appearance klaxon for worst movie ever because The Rock blocked him from being in Black Adam.
Wait a second. What? The Zorro?
Yeah, Zachary Levi.
He's a different person to the first Thor.
Yeah.
I just assumed that was the... Man, that was good. If they could have done that with Mark Ruffalo and Ed Norton. It is Zachary Levi. God damn.
Sorry, I'm just going to double check.
Their faces are so similar.
I'm wrong. Who have I got Mads Mikkelsen confused with? Rogue One.
What is this in? Thor... his name's Fendrel, is it?
Yeah, Fendrel.
It's that great part of the
Ben
episode.
Mendelsohn is who I was
Ben
thinking
Mendelsohn's
of.
great.
That's who I was
also
thinking
a villain in the MCU. Well, kind of villain.
Maybe that's where I got my names all mixed up. Robert Rodat, who wrote Saving Private Ryan, was brought on to rewrite Don Payne's draft, and then Stephen McFeely and Christopher Marcus were brought on to do further rewrites because, basically, they were done with Winter Soldier.
And they'd worked on Community. And if you worked on Community, you're likely to get hired by Kevin
If you were,
Feige.
not even just, if you were in a room next door to Community being filmed, you would be picked up by Kevin Feige to become part of Marvel Studios.
If you once served Dan Harmon coffee, you're probably now a major executive at Marvel.
But you're not Dan Harmon.
Yes, no. Dan Harmon can't work here because he falls out with everyone. It's a genius play. Dan Harmon can find amazing talent that he always has an argument with.
McFeely told Slash Film, to be honest, we don't know who's going to get credit on that movie. There are a lot of people who contributed to us. It may or may not be us. We don't know. They actually do get screenwriter credits along with Christopher Yost, and Rodat Payne get storyboard credits, and the movie gets its brand new release date of November 8th, 2013. However, we now must talk about what I've called in my script notes here, the Taylor Troubles. So it's written in the MCU book that New York did not get involved in the production of the movie, but really did in the post-production process.
So the whole film's shot.
Whole film shot. Now we're into post-production.
Do you know what the original story was?
I think it's the Ether and it's Malekith. It's just now we need to find that movie in there. And the result which we'll get to in a minute is Loki is the answer. So Taylor told Collider in August 2013 about the reshoots that were going on, saying, "We're in the crazy chicken running around with its head cut off phase, which I think is not an uncommon procedure at Marvel. They will work down to the wire. Kevin Feige is always trying to make the film better, seeing if he can push it up. I saw them do it on Iron Man 3, The Avengers. It's like they sort of have to pry the film out of Marvel's hands and put it up on screen because he never wants to stop improving things. But we're literally shooting some things this week. Anthony Hopkins is back in town. We're going to be getting some stuff from him. So we continue to what Kevin Feige calls plus the movie. There are new scenes being added even now. And I'm sure that if there wasn't a release date, we'd just keep making it better and better."
There's a wonderful line that you never finish a piece of writing. You just let it go.
Marvel seems to have a process where they make a movie, test what they got, and then they're totally open to rewriting it, even after production. And they sort of preserve time and money for that. Reshooting, in my case, is not like you screwed something up, you have to do it again. It's additional photography because it's, what if we had a scene like this, and that would make this thing happen over here? They sort of find the movie through that process.
It's such a fascinating way of doing it, and it's something you can do when you've got so much money and your first few films have been so successful, I guess, because you can't think of another studio signing off on that kind of wild expense.
There was an internet rumor at the time that the reason why Taylor was falling out with Marvel Studios is that he wanted a longer runtime on it. He wanted to release a longer movie, but Marvel were like, no, it needs to be X length.
So now hour 52 with credits.
Yeah, so 2 hours, let's say. He's denied that in interviews and said that the falling out he had was over the choice of composer. He had Brian Tyler, and then he was replaced with Carter Burrell. And he added, "We're doing full scenes that were not in the movie before. We're adding scenes, creating scenes, writing scenes for the first time. The one involving Loki was a fun connective scene that was just, we realized how well Loki was working in the movie, so we want to do more with him." And that's basically what they've found. It's like, Loki's testing well, put more Loki in the movie.
And like we said, that is the best stuff in there. So these additional reshoots did plus the film.
And then during a press tour in London, he is quite mean about the post-credit scene of the movie.
Which post-credit scene?
The one that actually adds something to the film, because the last one is not anything.
Slow-mo smooch.
The one where, and I think that might be the reshoot one as well. There can't be though, it's got too much Portman in it.
Well, so the one where they go to see the Collector.
Yes, the one
give
where
them the ether.
And they give him the ether. He was asked by Bleeding Cool if he filmed the post-credit sequence, and he said, "I absolutely did not. I'm very happy to not take responsibility. It's a different tone. I would have shot it differently. The Guardians universe is really cool and wacky, but that sequence in the credits, I would say, is the only part of the movie where I'm happy to give the credit away." Because James Gunn directed that scene.
That's a bit bitchy. I mean, fair enough, you're annoyed at the whole process and frustrated with Marvel, but that's a fellow director's vision, which is not bad. It's just different.
Yeah.
And you're having, your characters are stepping into his world there. So the way that looks and is filmed is totally fine.
Yeah.
It's a bit
he didn't like
much.
it. So Loki was the big change of the movie, not only adding more scenes, but also changing that he didn't die. He was originally supposed to die, and this would be the end of Loki. Feige did interviews saying this is the end of the Loki trilogy of the MCU.
Thor Avengers and
Thor
Dark World.
This is it. He is out of this series. But it was testing so well that they were like, well, we need to redo this then. In fact,
So sorry, him dying when he sacrifices himself for Thor.
It's meant to be the end of it. And then the scene where you just have that guard on that Asgardian on the Dark World, and it goes, and then the scene with Odin, that's all reshoots.
It is a really beautiful death scene. And the whole arc that Loki goes on, that is a self-contained, really good thing.
In an Entertainment Weekly article from 2001, it's a profile on Tom Hiddleston to promote the Disney Plus Loki show. They write, the plan was to kill Loki off in 2013's Thor the Dark World, but the studio reversed course after test audiences refused to believe he actually died fighting the Dark Elves. Alas, he couldn't out-illusion death forever. So yeah, the plan was, you're done. You're out. But then he becomes not only there, he's in multiple other movies and gets 2 seasons of his own spin-off show.
So what does he do after that in the MCU?
Well, then he's in Ragnarok.
He's in Ragnarok because he's revealed as the Odin. He's actually Odin.
Yeah.
But then
he's in Infinity War, being killed.
But he's killed right at the start.
Killed right at the start. And then in Endgame, when they go back to 2012, he uses the Tesseract to escape.
Yeah.
And that's when the Loki TV series starts, because he created an offshoot time that he wasn't supposed to.
How much better would it be if Loki did die in the Dark World? We don't see him again until Endgame, and the results of Endgame actually bring him back to life.
He's too popular as a character.
And that's when you get the... But, I mean, yeah, he's very popular, but really, what do they do with him?
Well, he's great in Ragnarok. He's really fun in Ragnarok.
Yeah, but it's not. You know, there's an argument to kill off a popular character.
Not in the MCU, there isn't.
ever
in the MCU. You thought we killed off Tony Stark? Joke's on you, numbnuts. He's Doctor Doom now.
Meanwhile, me, having read comics all my life, first time, bro.
I remember reading an issue of Nick Fury and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the last panel of it is Nick Fury being shot dead. I was like, all right, see you next issue, mate. It was one of his robots. In the MCU, the creative committee was convinced that Loki didn't have enough screen time and his scenes weren't much fun. The solution was to airlift Joss Whedon from the Avengers editing room to the Dark World Studios in London so he could rewrite all of the Loki scenes for the reshoots. The opening scene of Loki in chains was part of those reshoots. Otherwise, the popular character wouldn't have appeared until nearly an hour into the film. The mid-credit scene, shot by James Gunn, introduced Benicio del Toro as the Collector in a tease for Guardians of the Galaxy. In a flimsy... I think that's why Alan Taylor didn't like it. Like, what is this Benicio del Toro performance?
Yeah, maybe it's the directing of the actors.
Yeah. In a flimsy TV tie-in in the post-credit scene involved a frost monster from another realm left behind on Earth so that the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. could deal with it. The resulting film felt like it served the needs of other Marvel projects more than its own viewers. Taylor made few friends at Marvel Studios during his time there. Quote, Kevin is an all-powerful force, but films at the end of the day live and die by their director, said Kyle. Sometimes it works out great. Sometimes it doesn't. The Dark World speaks very much to the unfortunate side of the wrong person for the wrong franchise. Some online believe, you never believe this, there's the Taylor cut.
Give it a rest, guys. Look, not everything is a conspiracy theory.
There's a Taylor cut out there, guys.
Release it.
Release the Taylor cut before Marvel Studios did the audacity to have more Loki in the movie. He did an interview with The Hollywood Reporter to promote The Many Saints of Newark. And he said, the version I had started off with had more childlike wonder. There was this imagery of children that started the whole thing. There was slightly more magical quality. There was weird stuff going on back on Earth because of the convergence that allowed some of these magical realism things. And there was a major plot differences that were inverted in the cutting room with additional photography. People, such as Loki, had died were not dead. People who had broken up were back together again. I think I would like my version.
Oh, that's interesting. That sounds quite different to what we ended up getting. And there's a bit later on, we'll talk about it in the full play-by-play of the film. But I feel like the film should have opened with Odin, young Odin, like our age Odin, telling the story of Vanaheim and the Dark Elves to a young Loki and Thor, like as a bedtime story thing.
Because you had that line where it's like, of course we know about the Dark Elves. Mother would tell us those stories when we were children.
I heard that and I was like, oh, that could have been the human opening of this film. And later on, you get the full-on Lord of the Rings battle sequence to show what actually happened.
I think I need to work on my Thor voice, though, because I was really more Peter Dinklage in Infinity War there. Thor, boy! You will take the full force of a star! Anyway, in that same Hollywood Reporter article, Taylor modestly suggests certain writer-directors, he's a typically director-producer, might have been able to turn around the beleaguered project. Quote, I'd really admire the skill set of somebody who can go in with a very personal vision, like Taika Waititi or James Gunn, praising him now, and manage to combine it with the big corporate demands. I think my skill set might be different. I just wanted to bring that on as well, because that article also talks about his time shooting Terminator Genisys, or Terminator Mega Drive as it was known here in the UK, in which he says it made him lose his will to live.
Poor guy. What a run of films. Dark World and then Mega Drive.
He went straight onto it. Oh. He finished Thor the Dark World and went straight onto Terminator Genisys.
Is that, am I thinking of Salvation? Which is the one with Christian Bale?
That's Salvation. That's the first attempt at a Terminator reboot. Genisys is the second attempt at a Terminator reboot. And then the one that came out a couple of years ago was the third attempt at a Terminator reboot.
And how's that going?
Well, considering we haven't had our fourth attempt yet, not well, or a sequel to that third attempt yet. So we mentioned there earlier, there's now a TV show.
Yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
The MCU's doing so big, we need to break into TV. And we're going to have a TV show based upon... And there were loads of TV shows that were being developed. After Iron Man 2, in fact, actually, Marvel Entertainment wanted more TV, so they set up Marvel Television to work alongside Marvel Studios. This was a Ike Perlmutter and Alan Fine deal. The MCU book writes, the New York executive conceived it as not a subsidiary of Marvel Studios, but as a separate division that would take orders from them via the creative committee. After the surprisingly lucrative Iron Man movies, Marvel Entertainment saw an opportunity to make money on the small screen and wanted to take control of that enterprise. So Joseph Loeb comes in to be the vice president. Guillermo del Toro pitched doing a Hulk TV series.
Oh, that would have been fun from him.
But instead, he went on to work on Pacific Rim instead.
Yeah, Loeb wrote Hush for Batman and The Long Halloween and stuff like that.
Melissa Rosenberg pitched a Jessica Jones TV series, but that fell apart because she wanted Captain Marvel to be a featured role within it, and they didn't really know what to do with that. They also worked on doing a Cloak and Dagger TV series that eventually did get made in 2018, and a TV series based around Mockingbird, but they couldn't get any of these film or TV shows done. Despite having a direct line and being owned by Disney to ABC, they just could not get any of these. And I think it's because you're picking like Cloak and Dagger and, no disrespect, Jessica Jones and Mockingbird. And what you'd really want to do is pitch something that is connected to the movies. And the release of The Avengers changed that, because The Avengers comes out and all of a sudden the TV people are like, what have you got? Give me what you got. And Whedon pitches the idea of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., a TV series, a Monster of the Week TV series where Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. go around and they do a lot of projects that are sort of tangentially tied to MCU stuff.
Great idea in theory. I was so excited for it. But then, doesn't that somewhat undermine Phil Coulson's death in The Avengers?
A little bit. I'll tell you what also will undermine it as well, is that, so The Avengers happens, and then Joss Whedon pitches the idea of doing the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He says to Kevin Feige, he's like, I think we did Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And Kevin Feige responds to, we're going to destroy S.H.I.E.L.D. in The Winter Soldier. And Joss Whedon was like, I don't care, I'm doing it anyway. And that's the TV show. So he and his brother and his brother's partner went off and they developed Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. MCU writes, to make the series feel more essential, the creative committee pushed for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to react to developments from the MCU movies. The show's first cross-promotional test was in the November 13 sequel Thor: The Dark World. Marvel Television wanted a storyline involving Asgardians, but although Marvel Studios granted access to some of its sets and props, the movie division was unwilling to loan out any of the MCU characters. Instead, the show set in episode in London in the aftermath of the movie's final battle, the S.H.I.E.L.D. team is helping clean up when they encounter an unrelated Asgardian artifact known as a Guardian Berserker. It's played by Peter McNichol. That episode, I wanted to bring that up, because it's directed by Jonathan Frakes.
Yes! Riker of Star Trek fame.
That is the episode that's titled The Well. It aired on November 19th, 2013. And I was surprised to learn, because I didn't really watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I watched the first episode because I was so into the MCU, that I thought that's the episode that Lady Sif is in. Lady Sif's in a different episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. would run, I think, until 2020.
Oh my God.
It
like
just
9 series.
It just kept on going.
Well, that TV packaging money is lucrative. So just to clarify, you have Marvel Studios, owned by Marvel Entertainment.
Yes.
And Disney were going to buy them shortly. But Marvel Entertainment...
I think they already have at this point.
Already have. But Marvel Entertainment, owned by Disney, but you've still got Ike and people like that there. Marvel Entertainment are the ones that say, let's launch Marvel Television.
Yes.
And we can control this one.
Yeah.
But Marvel Studios... It's not like Marvel Studios thought, let's launch Marvel TV.
Yeah. No. It was Marvel Entertainment that let's do a TV show as well as, which is funny.
And you can see why there was a bit of tension there between the departments.
It's also going to repeat itself when you get into the Disney Plus era, and they were like, we need stuff to fill this Disney Plus thing because we don't have enough. Make me 5 TV shows that will go on to this that tie into the MCU. Before you know it, like, it just bloats out the MCU and everyone loses interest in it.
Well, but that was because it was all in studios.
Yeah.
What it sounds like here is that studios were like, no, we've got our plan. We're being very protective of our movie characters. We're not going to put them on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It will devalue Thor if you can see him at home on TV at 9 p.m.
In the same way that Disney wouldn't loan out Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck or Goofy to be in TV shows because we need to protect those characters. The Goofy's because he's in Goof Troop, but Mickey Mouse, not allowed to put him in TV shows because TV shows are beneath what we as Disney do.
And, you know, it sort of has kind of proven itself, even with all the prestige TV series. If you go on traditional TV and it's a bit of a sort of network show like S.H.I.E.L.D's ended up being, Monster of the Week stuff, it does make the movie stuff less special. When The Mandalorian comes out in a couple of months' time, it's like, oh, but that feels like a TV show.
It looks like one as well. I think the same thing happens when they do the Netflix stuff as well, and you get Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. It's like they are in the MCU, and they keep, you know, they make reference to the Battle of New York and things like that, but they are not being acknowledged by Marvel Studios until later on when Kevin Feige is like, I'm just going to reference everything now. Yeah. And I'm going to, like, there's a bit in the MCU book where they talk about he kind of made it his personal mission to kind of save some stuff from early things. So it's like, I'm bringing back Thunderbolt Ross because I want to save something from there. Oh, I'm going to bring back Abomination, and I'm going to put him in a movie, and I'm going to put him in a TV show. I can make stuff that didn't work in the past, I can make it work. So, the movie comes out and does $206 million domestic, which is plus $25 million from the first movie.
Oh, good.
And $644 million worldwide, which is up nearly $200 million from the first movie.
Very impressive, but you've got to think, is that because of the quality of the movie, or is that because you're off the momentum of Avengers, billion, Iron Man 3, billion?
Absolutely, that's what it is. Opening weekend was $85 million. It was the largest November opening for Disney. Dropped 57% to $36 million the following week, but retained the top spot. Then dropped 61% to $14 million. It was knocked off by The Hunger Games Catching Fire in its third week. Box Office wrote, the Thor sequel has already crushed the original's $268 million overseas total after just 19 days of release. And Deadline wrote in 2014, Thor the Dark World continues the Marvel superhero juggernaut, and it did particularly well in China, Russia, and the UK. While the hammer-wielding hero pales compared to Iron Man, the sequel bettered the original film in both domestic and overseas for a total tally of $645 million. Thor 2 cost $170 million to make per our experts, but because Marvel is so stingy to everyone but Robert Downey Jr., they reckon the movie made a profit of $139 million.
Tidy. And just think about the toys as well. Because there wasn't a woman.
There wasn't a woman.
There wasn't a woman. We've made all the money.
Probably did about 70% extra sales because there was no stinking girls there. So we mentioned earlier that this was not... Marvel didn't like this movie much. Made money, but they weren't particularly enamored with the final product.
They were on a run of very high quality movies, and this fell below their own standards.
So this is from the MCU book. Feige needed to jumpstart Thor. Despite having starred in 4 hit movies, 2 solo outings, and 2 Avengers pictures, the character appeared to be dwindling into irrelevance karma, a self-import thunder god who didn't have much to offer beyond muscles and earnest heroism. The character's second solo movie, Thor the Dark World, was an ill-informed mess. As Avengers Age of Ultron, he'd been relegated to a dull side quest searching for more Infinity Stones. In Captain America Civil War, he wasn't even invited to the party. Nobody was more aware of the problems than the actor who played Thor, Chris Hemsworth, although it took an outsider to spur him to action. When he heard the comic book obsessed writer director Kevin Smith bashing the Thor franchise on a podcast, Hemsworth realized that his movies were losing the hardcore fans, and he approached Feige. I'm dying here. I feel like I've got handcuffs on, Hemsworth pleaded. Tonally, we've just got to wipe the table, he said. It has to be funny. It has to be unpredictable. The actor advocated for getting rid of some of Thor's trademarks, especially the hair and the hammer. Feige agreed to act on Hemsworth's suggestions in the third movie, already titled Thor Ragnarok. He realized that a reinvention could rely on audience familiarity with Thor, given all the hours Hemsworth had already spent on screen in the MCU.
What an incredibly brave swing by Feige. And that's like, because he's so confident there with the track record of film releases he's got, he can say like, yeah, that's just totally tear up this character.
Cut the hair
and
off.
Go in a different direction.
Yeah.
But it's more than just hair. That the Thor of Dark World, the Thor of Ragnarok, it's they're different characters.
There's a gag in Ragnarok that I still absolutely love is Strongest Avenger. As like that's the password that Hulk uses for his ships. Not sure about that one. Yost on the film's reputation in that book. If a Marvel movie comes out, they put together a list of the worst Marvel movies, and it's always in the bottom 2. And you're like, oh damn, that sucks. Thor 2 was what it was, and it mattered. It made important things happen throughout the movie. Instead of being ignoring it, celebrated, make it meaningful. I certainly appreciated its inclusion in Endgame. I thought it was genius how they handled it. Portman did not come back for Endgame in the scenes that they have in that film. It said it's actually a deleted scene from Thor the Dark World that they repurpose
Is it really?
to put within Endgame. When asked if he would come back for Thor 3, Alan Taylor said, "The Marvel experience was particularly wrenching because I was sort of given absolute freedom while we were shooting, and then post-production it turned into a different movie. So that's something I hope to never repeat and don't wish upon anybody else."
Well, I must say, because we've got Marvel Studios, they were allowed to operate in their own kind of, initially crazy way, with a lot of creative reign. And then Avengers is successful, Iron Man 3 is successful, and then Marvel Entertainment start going, oh, let's get involved here. It's only one film that suffers from it.
Yeah.
Because Feige must have realized the mistakes and found a way to navigate them. Because Winter Soldier's next.
Mm-hmm. Great film.
And then it's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Great film.
These are... Black Widow's a huge part of Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So he quickly found a way to... This could have been a derailing moment for the MCU. Oh, the Avengers was good, Iron Man 3, because it's the final Iron Man film, but shame about Thor the Dark World. I guess they got too big and too many people interfered.
I think it is a case of, because like the Winter Soldier, you say that's next. They were making it at the same time. So it's not like we realized mistakes from Thor the Dark World, then fixed that for the Winter Soldier. I just think that the Marvel Studios is a machine. It is a machine that churns out 4-star movies. It puts in some prompts and a 4-star movie comes out of it. But sometimes cogs in the machine just don't work and a 2-star movie comes out of it. But it's fine because then the next movie that comes out is a 4-star movie.
Sometimes it's a 5-star movie.
Sometimes it's a 5-star. Like sometimes there are things that go wrong in the machine and a 5-star movie comes out or a 2-star movie comes out. But it happens quite rarely. But broadly speaking, they just are a 4-star movie making machine. And I think Thor: The Dark World is one of those ones where the cogs just didn't quite work and a 2-star movie came out the other end. Because they did the same things they've done on all the other movies. It's just with this one it didn't work. So reviews were mixed. You know, not many people liked it. Some people thought it was all right. I did find one very glowing review of it, which I thought you would like, because it probably speaks to what you think as well.
It's not from me, is it?
Exciting, brilliant, fun, energetic, with well-written humour and some outstanding performances, let down by a slightly stupid plot that makes no sense. Thor: The Dark World has everything a comic book movie fan could want and so much more. It's Avengers level of fun and a final third that will have you on the edge of your seat, even if you're scratching your head while doing so. Thor may have been the surprise entry of Phase 1, but Thor: The Dark World could end up being the best solo outing of Phase 2. Written by Luke Owen. On October 22nd, 2013.
I thought at the start, oh God, is this me? And then things like scratching your head. I was like, I wouldn't say those words. Or maybe I would have.
Yeah.
Huh.
That was from my 4-star review I wrote for the movie.
That's how I feel about it. What you've just said is how I feel it. The plot makes no sense, but the character stuff, the performances, they're all really good. I think the dogfight round the Asgard is pretty good.
When I went to the press screening of this, and I was so enamored with the MCU at this point as well. I had so much fun. And do you know the bit that I basically gave this film 4 stars for?
Is it Loki?
Captain America. Yeah, when he comes out as Captain America, I was like, I love this franchise. And
it's so fun.
It's so much fun. I had so much fun with it. It's only in subsequent watches of it, I'm like, it's fine.
You've only watched it 1.5 times.
Maybe I think 2.5 times.
You've watched it once and you loved it.
And now it's 3.5 times.
You did half a watch.
Yeah, which my wife kept telling me how boring it was.
Yeah, you don't. That's not you. Don't let her speak for you and think for you anymore. You think it's a great film?
I thought it was a great film. I had so much fun there, but I think with the benefit of hindsight, I don't think it is the 4-star movie that I wrote it up to be.
It's not a 4-star movie, but I think it's unfairly picked on by the MCU. That's an interesting point, though, about the Loki turning into Cap. Because up until that point, had there been such a fun celebration of this is all a shared universe.
It's in the post-credits for Iron Man 3. Mark Ruffalo is his psychiatrist. That's and that was good. It's good, but it's not like it's Mark Ruffalo there as the Incredible Hulk or as Bruce Banner. But when it's Chris Hemsworth and he's in the full Captain America gear and he's just chatting with Thor, I was like, I want to see you guys together again. I want to see my toys come together and have some more adventures. It does feel like we are, and then weird because then you go to Guardians after Captain America. And it's so separate from everyone.
Yeah.
Do you remember you and I, when we were doing our podcast around this time, kept saying, they need to be introducing these Guardians, guys, because people aren't going to know who they are. You should be using the post-credits of these movies to introduce the Guardians to get people ready.
Yeah, we're idiots, though.
I mean, you read my 4-star review that I wrote for this film.
That can now haunt me, along with me and you also saying they need Punk or Danielson for All In to be a success.
They'll never sell the seeds if they don't.
Oh, but just one more thing on the Loki. We'll talk about it more in the play-by-play. But Chris Evans, because he's so good as Steve Rogers, everyone forgets that he's actually a really great comedic, goofy actor. Like you can see it in Deadpool versus Wolverine when he plays his version of Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
Which is, it's all over the place in a fun way. So that means when he plays Loki playing Steve, he gets the mannerisms down just spot on.
Yeah. It's a
great moment.
It's a great moment.
And that's why Thor: The Dark World is not as good as Madam Web.
Well, of course it's not.
You know what, though?
So let's get into the rankings of where we are going to put this, because...
Well, we've got to do the whole play-by-play to fully decide. But
I was going to say, but we need to get gut reactions, right? Do you want to get it so the camera can actually see it?
No.
It is worst movie ever, Batman v Superman, followed by Suicide Squad 2016, Man of Steel, The Flash, Fan 4 Stick, Morbius, Justice League, Daredevil, Superman 4, Spider-Man 3, Black Adam, Kraven the Hunter, Iron Man 2, Justice League, The Snyder Cut, and Madam Web. Obviously, it's not as good as Madam Web.
No, nothing is. Look, my gut feeling here, I enjoy it more than Iron Man 2.
Me too.
I think Justice League probably beats it.
Well, that's a proper film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A proper 4-hour long film. Almost too much of a proper film. For me, it's 14th.
I think I would put this above Iron Man 2. And I think actually it might be a change of what my MCU rankings always were, because I think I used to have Iron Man 2 above Thor the Dark World, but I would switch them around.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to find out, won't we?
Yes. Patreon.com/cutscene is where you should be heading now. There's a link to it in the video description, because we are going to be doing the play-by-play of the movie. We're going to go through it scene by scene, including the scene where Loki turns into Captain America. And yes, we're going to talk about the London Underground tube system and how Thor... I've got a map of how Thor needed to get to Greenwich, which was not 3 stops. He's also got a map on his screen.
This is the route on Google Maps.
Yep.
This is a tube map just to show what is within 3 stops of Charing Cross.
Yeah. I don't think he wanted to go to Kennington, which is where that lady was sending him.
You're not getting... Look...
Because he's on the Northern line, right?
Look, well, we shouldn't get sucked into this now, but Natalie Jane Foster clearly says we have 7 minutes to distract Keith. Because that's how long the convergence will last for. He can't do whatever the ether thing is during the convergence. 3 minutes into this fight scene, Thor arrives on Charing Cross Station through a portal. That is a half-an-hour journey.
It's going to say, well, he's got to get 3 different trains in order to get, or two more trains than the one he's already on.
It's a even if he only went the 3 stops that that woman said, just the average, it's 2 minutes a stop on the London Underground. That's 6 minutes. The world is ended by that point.
Convergence has happened.
It's 2 minutes after the convergence.
I should say as well, when people talk about how this is a bad movie, aside from the fact it's a bit messy in terms of, that, which is what everyone talks about, is the London Underground bit. Malekith is...
Oh, Keith's rubbish.
He has got MCU villainitis, where he is not important to this plot whatsoever. And it's the Loki Thor film that happens to have a baddie within it, but no one is interested in this baddie.
I remember, this, Keith was the one that did me in for, I'm just not going to bother with MCU villains, because I was really excited about Weaving as Red Skull, and he's fine.
I love him as Red Skull.
But, but it's not like, he's not Agent Smith, is he?
No, he's the Red Skull.
The villains
Captain America!
The villains aren't as great as the heroes. And I was like, fair enough, phase 1, put the heat on the good guys. The bad guys should almost be one-dimensional generic so that everyone can fall in. You don't want anyone actually going, oh yeah, but this bad guy is actually the best character.
Yeah.
You need the focus to be on the good guys to set up the Avengers. Here we are, 2 films into phase 2, where it's like, now we can start to develop the characters more of the bad guys. Mickey Rourke is another one as Whiplash in Iron Man 2. Terrible. Waste of Mickey Rourke. And you've got, it's Guy Pearce, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Guy Pearce, great actor in Iron Man 3. The Mandarin.
Yep.
The intentional swerve, but
Rebecca Hall.
There's a villain problem there. And then Christopher Eccleston, the resurgence Doctor Who, and the star of numerous other fantastic British TV series or shows, and he's just evil Keith.
Yeah. When we did
Evil Keith sounds like a Taika Waititi character, actually.
When I was at the press conference for Thor the Dark World, and I had all the cast there, and I think that is when Chris Hemsworth talked about it. He said this in multiple interviews, where he was like, the Anthony Hopkins came out on set, we're all in costumes, and said, well, we don't need to do much acting here then. You think it is your birthright.
That isn't acting. What is?
But yeah, Christopher Eccleston has one stock answer to anything, and he only gets asked 2 questions in the whole panel about Malekith, and he just says the same answer for both of them about what Malekith's backstory is. I'm going to see if I can find. I might still have the audio somewhere. I'm going to see if I've got it around. But yeah, he's a bad villain, but it's an MCU-wide problem. Because the same thing will happen with Christian Bale.
Ronan next.
Ronan's
Ronan's
nothing. First event, Winter Soldier has a great villain. But that's also because
Redford.
Yeah, Robert Redford's great, but also I was thinking of the Winter Soldier
himself. And that's why that is a good film.
But our next public one we'll be doing is another one of the bad villains.
Oh my God, I am obsessed with James Spader, particularly at this point, because I'm knee-deep in Boston Legal for the first time, and he's just incredible in that series. When I heard Spader was going to be the villain.
Ultron, no less.
And what they do to him.
Yeah. There's part of me that loves it as well. I've got no strings.
Those trailers, they set you up for
good.
Like, oh, this film's going to be about the villain.
Yeah.
This is going to be a villain origin story.
It's the Empire Strikes Back of the MCU. But that is our next episode next month, where we're going to be doing Avengers Age of Ultron. And then we'll be jumping ahead quite a bit, because we're going to do Eternals.
Well, they just have too many good movies in that
Honestly,
period.
after that, they just start batting it. Everything is a home run.
Absolute Will Ospreay start of 2025. 5-star, 6-star, 5-star.
And then, pandemic, what whiff? We don't know how to make movies anymore in a post-Endgame world. We're doing Eternals, and the film I'm most dreading, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
Maybe we should put in Love and Thunder.
I'm starting to think we should
think about it.
Maybe we should take out one of the X-Men movies we've had planned for later on this year and do.
We can can't we just do them all? I think it still lines up with.
No, it would take us.
Scroll.
It would take us into January next year, and we kind of want to finish this run by the end of this year. But hey, look. We're the masters of our own destiny. We can do whatever we want, really. Let us know in the comments down below. But head on over to patreon.com/cutscene, because we do the scene-by-scene breakdown of Thor, Love and Thunder.
Nope, The Dark World.
Sorry, The Dark World. You know the one. Of Thor, Love and Dark World. Right now. Ragnarok. Iron Man does whatever an iron can. Shoots lasers, I guess.
Smooths out a shirt.
Oh, you're going with that sort of Iron
Man, or the Iron Lady, the sequel to Iron Man that's in the middle. Because you've got Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, the Iron Lady, then Iron Man.